All right. Testing. Operational manual. American Locomotive Company, General Electric Company, model RSD5, 1600 horsepower, road switcher, 6 motors. Operation manual TP45 for model RSD5, 6 motor road switcher. This manual covers the basic operating instructions. This manual covers the basic operating instructions. Just to the engine, efficient handling of the 1600 horsepower model RST 6 road motor road switchway string locomotive. Description and information pertaining to the most commonly used specialties is contained and defined with the phrase. The manual is written so as to be complete with the locomotives with or without specialty equipment. The information furnished for the base of the construction detail date and material was compiled. American Locomotive Company, General Electric Locomotive Company, Shenandoah, New York, printed in USA, January 1952. Table of Contents, General Data, Section 1, Introduction, Section 2, Control Operating Handles, Section 3, Preparation for Operation, Section 4, Operation Procedure, Section 5, Air Equipment, Section 6, Miscellaneous Operation Instruction 7, Gauges and Instruments, Section 8, and Automatic Alarm Safeguard, Section 9. Figure 1 shows the apparatus of 52.5 inch, 8.5 from the center seal to the brake cylinder of the center seal. Alright, 1, the engine, 2, the main generator, 3, the accelerator, 4, the accelerator generator, 4, 5, the gauge panel, 6, the control stand, 7, the brake valve, 6, the control compartment, 9, the turbocharger, 10, the turbocharger filters and silencers, 11, traction motor blowers, 12 radiators, 13 radiator shutters, 14 radiator fan, 15 radiator fan clutch, 16 lubricating oil cooler, 17 oil filters, 18 lubricating oil strainer, 19 engine water tank cleaner, and a 20 air compressor, 21 main air reserve, 22 batteries, 23 fuel tank, 24 fuel tank filling connection, 25 fuel tank gauge, 26 emergency fuel cutoff, 27 sand boxes, 28 sand boxes covering 29 handbrake, 30 generator air ducts, 31 cab heater, 32 CAO seats, 33 horn, 34 bell, 35 number box, 36 cab seat mod, 37 steam generator mod, 38 water tank mod, 39 water tank filling connection mod, 40 auxiliary control compartment. General model number, the RSD5 class of AARCC, rated engine speed 1000 RPMs, engine horsepower 1600 horsepower, bore 9 inches, stroke 10.5 inches in fuel tank. The tank capacity 800 gallons, lubricating oil capacity 200 gallons, cooling water capacity 250 gallons, governing oil supply system capacity 4 quarts, sand capacity 28 cubic feet, steam generated water tank capacity 750 gallons, wheel diameter 40 inches, for journal size 6.5 by 12 inch, height 14 inches and 14 foot 8.5, 8.25 inches, width 10 foot 1 5/8 of an inch, lengthwise 55 foot 11 foot 11 3/4 of an inch. Track curvature 21 in degree. Locomotive alone, minimum radius 191 feet. Weight on drivers 360,000 pounds. Total locomotive 360,000 pounds. Alright, the introduction. The 6 motor 16,100 pound horsepower road switching is a single unit heavy duty locomotive designed for freight passenger switching, so the controls may be applied with multiple unit operation, which is controlled for the one of the cab. 1. Diesel engine. Each of the locomotives is powered by a 12-cylinder V-type 9 inch by 101.5 inches single-acting turbocharged 1600 horsepower diesel engine, 4-stroke cycle, having an open combustion chamber with solid fuel injection. The engine speed is at 350 RPM, idle with a 1000 RPM full speed with the governor electro-hydraulic governor. Each cylinder requires 2 revolutions for a 4-stroke for the position with a complete 1 working cycle. 1 complete position working cycle is followed. The first has the air blown cylinder of the down intake stroke, and then on the compression stroke, and there's the air compressor with the ring piston long increase of the air temperature just before the end of the compression. Fuel with the engine injected with the cylinder with ignited with the heat of the compressed air, with the result of the compression increase of the cylinder pressure on the third and power stroke. With this gas pressure forces the piston down on the fourth exhaust stroke. The burned gases are expelled and the piston travel upward with a scavenging acting on the inlet air made possible by the large intake of the exhaust valve overlap. Diesel engine has a welded steel frame, fuel pressure, lubrication, all parts of the body. All cooling system is used with the cooling water flows successfully through the engine. Radiator lubricating oil cooler is circulated with the engine driving central fuel pump. Lubricating oil is cooled in the water heating exchange in the water man. The fan cool radiator thermostatically controlled radio shutter the fan mate. Maintain diesel engine temperature automatically. 2 traction auxiliary generators. The traction generator is directed to the diesel engine crankshaft with auxiliary generator, amplitude, exciter, rear traction, motor blower, and are given with the generator shaft. The traction generator produces direct current for the operation of the traction motor for the amplitude. The exciter furnishes the excitation of the traction motor for the rear blower. The furnishes the ventilation air for the traction motor on the rear truck. The front truck blower, which is belt driven from the fan drive shaft, furnishes the vent air filling for the motors for the front track. The auxiliary generator furnishes the current of the battery charging low voltage circuits and lightly controlling the fuel pump excitation. Alright, 3. The traction motor. 6 traction motors are used. Each motor is supported by the axle, suspension bearing, and spring nested on both on truck transoms. Shrunk on the motor armature shaft of the pinion with the mesh and drive with the gear meshed into the wheel axle. The gear ratio between the pinion and the drive gear is expressed in 2 figures, 74/18. The first number indicates the number of teeth on the driven gear. The second number indicates the number of teeth on the pinion. The traction motors are automatically connected in the series parallel connection with the fully strength, the parallel connection with the full street and field strength depending on locomotive speed. During acceleration, following motor connections taking place. Automatic transmission step number 1. Motor connections. 2 motors in series 3 group of the parallel full field strength. Step number 2. 6 motors in parallel full field strength. The motor connections take place in the reverse order with the train decelerating with the power on. The transition is changing the traction motor connection is controlled automatically. The forward and reverse movement of the locomotive is controlled. Position reserve of the reverser when moved the forward of reverse position. The reverse handle of the engine man position changes the direction of the current through the traction motor fields. 4. Auxiliary equipment. On road, switching the locomotive to each of the diesel engine drive the radiator fan through the eddy current clutch. Current between the eddy air compressor engine is through the flexible coupling. 5. Dynamic braking. If used, dynamic braking is a means for which the traction motors are used to produce braking instead of pulling after the motors are reconnected with it as the generator the power produced is dissipated as heat of the floor blower resistor. This brake is also usually principally on grades and thoroughly may be used with very good advantage for the slowdown. The resistor assembly is mounted on the rear hood. Alright, 3. Controlling operation handles. A. The throttle handle. The idle position A run notch is the position shown by the indicator above handle. The advanced throttle handle in such succeeding notches as moving the handle slightly out of the toward the idle, then moving it into the succeeding notch. The action releases the latch, which prevents the rapid acceleration as accidental notching. B. The throttle handle can be returned to the idle as rapidly as desired. Selector handle has an off position for the 4 motoring positions on the left and a braking range for the right. The position is shown by the indicator at the top of the control. The handle of the off position disconnects the traction motor power. Braking circuits handling the motor position number 1 sets up the monitoring circuit. The transition will take place automatically, both accelerating and decelerating. When multiple unit with the model RSD5 locomotive, the selector handle is in the lead unit shall remain in the number 1 transition position. When the unit's equipped with the automatic transmission supervisory control, the selector handle with the lead unit should be placed in the selector position number 4. When the multiple units are equipped with a manual transmission selector, the handle should be moved in position number 1 up at the position number 2, 3, and 4 according to the operating instructions on the locomotive equipped with the manual transmission. Handling the brake range provided with the controlling of the dynamic brake. If the locomotive is not equipped with dynamic braking at stop of the control prevents movement from the handling into the brake range. C. The reverse handle. It has a 3 position forward, off, and reverse selecting the desired direction of the locomotive movement. Throw handle in the same direction desired with the locomotive movement centering off. Alright, D. Mechanical interlocking between handles and throttle handle. Handle could be moved into the idle position. Selector handle can be moved 1, 2, 3, 4. Reverse handle installed. 2. The selector handle can be moved on the off number 1 position regardless of the reverse handle and position. Can be moved in positions number 2, 3, and 4 only when the reverse handle is in forward or reverse. On the units equipped with the dynamic braking selector handle can be moved with the braking range if the reverse handle is forward or reverse. The throttle handle is an idle. Alright, your reverse handle can be moved only with the throttle idle within the selector handle of the off and number 1 position. Can be installed and removed only when in the off position. Preparing for operation. Before boarding, check the fuel supply, check the steam generator water supply. If used, check the proper position, angle cocks, shut-off valves, also for liquid leaking with external piping. 4. Check for loose and dragging parts. B. In the engine compartment. And C. Inspect, see that there are no rags, towels, lanterns, etc. near the shaft of the belts for the moving of the parts or electrical apparatus. Never use waste for the locomotive. Lubricate oil drain valve that must be closed. Check the diesel engine lubricating oil valve. Bayonet gauge should be used. Oil between the high and low marks. 4. The cooling water drain valve must be closed. 5. Check the quantity of the water with the cooling water system. The side of the glass attached with the water expansion tanks. It should be fouled. Water at all times. The engine governor operates with the under the hydraulic oil pressure. The reserve of the oil of the governor base is equipped with a 2-sight glass. The oil level should not be below a line on the lower sight glass. 7. The emergency fuel shut-off valve must be open if closed. Reset the raising of the valve stem, slipping of the clutch under the raised stem. Place the handle on the duplex fuel oil filter in either horizontal or vertical position, preferably horizontal. Place the radiator shutter and fans under automatic control if unoperated on the manual control. Close the observation. Water temperature should be made. See the engine water temperature cool. Check be sure the air compressor governor cutout cock is open. Diesel engine turning gear must be disengaged and locked, located with the air compressor end of the engine mounted directly above the engine crankshaft extension. 12. The diesel engine overspeed reset button must be in the button, must be mounted on the top left side of the generator adapter, accessible with the third hood of the door, capable of the fireman's side. Check man of the air compressor oil level and maintain the oil level and the fuel mark of the bayonet gauge of the engine shut down. So you start the engine, check the battery switch and slightly raise the extension handle located to the right of the control compartment near the floor of the release cock. Push in, select all the circuit breakers and select on the control compartment air closed. Toggle switches out engine man control stands with the operating lights. Move the throttle to idle. Move the reverse selector into the off. The ground relay cutoff switch must be closed. The ground relay indicated target must not show red. If tripped, see the ground relay instruction. The traction motor cutoff switch, if used, should always be in all in. If any of the other position, see the traction motor cutoff switch instructions. Close the control fuel pump breakers. The engine control stand. Always pressure to build up to 35-45 per PSI on the fuel oil pressure gauge mounted on the gauge panel with the engine position. 9. Turn the engine control switch to idle low the oil pressure green light while the light alarm bell will ring until the engine is started. The oil pressure closes the pressure switch. The engine control switch is mounted on the right side of the control compartment. 10. Turn the start switch with the clockwise to the crank engine. Hold the position with the cranking of the engine. Oil pressure shown with the gauge alarm stop. The green light goes out with the warning. Releasing the start switch before the green light goes out will stop the engine. If it happens again, must be allowed to come to complete with the stop before repeating above the starting procedures. 11. Do not discharge the battery by repeated attempts to crank. If the first or 2-3 attempts are not successful, recheck the complete starting preparation. Check the lubrication oil pressure for the gauge panel with the 15 psi minimum pressure. Open the crankcase exhauster circuit breaker located on the control compartment panel. Check the engine control oil level. Keep the level between high and low mark on the bayonet gauge and idling. Engine idling. Crankcase exhauster shut off the locomotive at the level track. 15. Close the contactor exhauster circuit breaker. Make sure the crankcase exhauster light on the control compartment panel is on. Move the engine control switch to the run position. D. Before moving the train, install the brake valve handles and the reverse levers. Install the check main reverse air pressure. Check the control air pressure, normally 70 psi. Place the brake pipe cutout in the live position. Make the brake application release in the handbrake test. The dead engine cock located on the distributing valve must be in live position. Test standards make air brake tests have at least 120 degrees Fahrenheit water temperature if possible by notching up. 5. Operating procedures. Moving train. Close the generator field breaker, the engine control stand. Move the reverse handle from forward to the reverse position depending on the direction desired. Move the selector into the position. Select the selector handle. Position 1. See the selector handle. Release the brakes. Open the throttle. Stopping the train. Move the throttle handle to the idle and apply the air brakes if leaving the engine man position. Selector and reverse handle to the off. C. Reversing the locomotive. Bring the locomotive to a full stop. Move the selector to the number 1 position. Move the reverse handle to the opposite direction. Release the brakes and open the throttle. Shut down the diesel engine. Open the generator field located with the engine control stand. 2. Move the engine control switch to the off position. Apply the handbrakes. Release the air brakes. Open all the switches and circuit breakers. The engine control stand. Open the battery switch. Note that the engine stop button must be used in emergency stop only. E. Coupling. Coupling the road switchers equipped with multiple unit operations. On the lead unit position, all the breakers are the same for the single unit operation. On trailing unit C, all the circuit breaker for the control compartment panel are closed. Make sure the control and the fuel pump, the field generator, field circuit breakers for locating the engine control stand are off. Throttle must be in the idle. Selector hand must be in off. The reverse handle must be in off and removed. The most independent brake valve handle running an automatic brake valve handle lap. The handles can be removed in this position, but move the brake pipe out of the cut trail with the trailing position. On both units, engage the coupler, connect the air hose and the multiple unit jumper between the units and output an airline 8 angle cocks. Alright. F. Automatic transmission. Automatic all model RSD 5 6-motor road switchers are equipped with the automatic transmission supervisor control. Placing the selector handle in position number 1 permits the automatic transmission to place the predetermined locomotive speed during the acceleration deceleration shown in the following table. Transition steps 1 to 2, 74 to 18 gear ratio, 40-inch wheels. Transition steps 1 to 2, 18 miles an hour approximately. And transition step 2 to 1, 18 miles an hour approximately. When operating the multiple unit C instruction for the selector handle for the index for the proper procedure. Alright, your throttle handling. An aero feature for the 1600 horsepower road switcher provided with the throttle and control of the tractive effort. The other two advantages. The first of all, is the engine for the ability for the control by the throttle notch and the amount of the tractive effort developed. The second is provided with the positive protection against the excessive load current with the traction motor and generator. The purpose of the feature is offers much improved training, handling, as well as proper protection. Electrical equipment is important, therefore, engine man throttle understands the proper use, and such it does require slightly different throttle handling of the other types of locomotives not equipped. 1. How it works. For each of the throttle positions, define a maximum load current corresponding with the tractive effort may be developed. The increase of the throttle advance for the one position next that is made with the button smoothly, since however the total tractive effort of the locomotive is divided in 8 steps above the 8 throttle notches. It is necessary to avoid the net way of the 8th notch in order to develop the full tractive effort. Full sense the maximum current is controlled perfectly. Save for electrical mechanical equipment is concerned to advance the throttle rapidly to the 8th notch. In fact, it's not desirable but necessary under certain conditions. 2. How it is used. How it is used. It will understand the worst treatment that can give an infraction motive, but also and install condition with appreciable length of the time the load current is applied. Therefore most of the horn having given due the care to ensure the brakes are released, the train slack is out, and start locomotive as quickly as possible. And accelerate the speed while bringing the load meter pointer down with the green zone with the minimum time. Therefore, making the start is good practice. Advance with the throttle properly with the notch for the start of locomotive movement. If starting the acceleration too fast until certain that all the slack is out of it and throttle may be backed or is required, maintain the desired locomotive speed. As soon as the slack is out, one throttle may be advanced as fast as desired to suiting operation conditions. Good practice hesitates each notch of the A good practice hesitate at each notch to allow the engine to come up with a new notch speed, which indicates the load meter pointer has come to rest with the new position. 3. The starting position of passenger or light trains. For normal starting passenger and light trains, non-appreciable difference for throttle handle may be noted. Other types of equipment, except for the immediate response obtained with each of the throttle in advance. 4. Normal throttling of the heavy train, normal starting of the heavy trains. Normally, necessarily to bunch the slack, and the train is known to be stretched. So as soon as the brakes are fully released, the throttle should be advanced immediately whenever the notch is required to start, then adjusted down to suitable to desired during operation conditions, bearing with the mind desirable acceleration training where the load minute registers. Green zone minimum times with the normal level, the grade starting, no option. No movement obtained with the throttles reach from the 5th or 6th notch. Shut off the throttle and recheck the issue for ensure the brakes are fully released. Or starting heavy trains on severe grades. It is occasionally necessary to make such as the 7 8 notch to make the start. The engine must control course with the use to care and do the care of the handling of the train slack at the time of the power application to ensure the brakes are released. Having assured himself of the slack of the brake conditions have shows no hesitancy, advance throttle quickly even to the 8th notch to get the train moving. When the load current will be high, the control limits the value of the corresponding approximate maximum short time rating is shown with the load meter. The important thing is to get the locomotive moving, thus to keep the minimum length of during the heavy load current with applied with the motors before the start of the turn. H. Wheel slip indicated with warning light buzzer. The occasional wheel slip will be corrected. Automatic power reduction, smooth reapplication. 2. Upon repeated slip, the indication apply sand. If this does not correct the slipping, reduce the throttle. When spinning slip develops, it cannot be arrested with the sand action. Application throttle must be reduced and the spinning stop. Then apply the sand and reapply the power. Load meters and other means with which wheel slips may be detected. Sudden drop of the wheel load meter point of the abnormal load reading may be any indication wheel slippage. 6. In multiple operation adverse rail condition, excessive wheel slip can be avoided placing the engine control switch for the lead unit in the number 6 position. These the condition load meter will read low. Therefore, minimum conditions, continuous speed should be observed. Continuous wheel slip warning may be indicated by load axle checks should be made to ensure the free rotation of the wheels. 1. Operating with load meter. And if the load meter becomes inoperative at the approximate minimum continuous speed of the locomotive, the 40-inch wheels may be operated with the 8 notch and is 5 miles an hour. Alright, 6. Air equipment. The 6SL air brake equipment. The 6SL brake equipment is used in the road switcher. Details of the equipment vary. Different railroads make specific operation requirements. Equipment consists primarily of automatic brake valve, independent brake valve, brake pipe cutout, feed valve, distributing valve, the H6B relay if used, and application valve if used. Automatic brake valve handling has 6 positions, namely release and is used, running, holding, lap, service, and emergency release position. If used, provided with a large direct passage with the main reserve of the brake pipe, permitting the rapid flow of air to later charge with the train brake system for quick release. If the handle were allowed to remain in the position, the brake system would be charged at the main reserve pressure. To avoid the handling must be removed. The handle must be moved to running or holding position. Running position is used to charge the train brake system as also when the braking is charged with the ready for the brake not being operated with the release of the locomotive train brake. In this position, the feed valve is charged with the brake pipe as readily as possible to feed with the valve pressure. C. The holding position, used with a hold of the locomotive brake applied when the train brakes are released and the auxiliary reserves are recharged to feed the valve pressure. The 6. D. The lap position is used when the holding the brakes applied with the service of application until the desired either make a further brake pipe reduction for a release of them or a release of them. Service position gives a gradual reduction of the brake pipe pressure to cause the service application. The gradual reduction prevents quick action. Emergency position is used to prompt heavy application of the brakes and large direction communication between the brake pipe and atmosphere. Movement may be caused by sudden and heavy discharge of the brake pipe pressure. Brake pipe air. 2. Brake pipe cutout located on the backside of the brake valve is made for the use of the open close between the brake valve and the brake pipe. If the handle is vertical, the brake valve is cut out with the close. When the handle is parallel, the floor is cut out. Cut in or open. Brake pipe cutout when locomotives equipped with a multiple unit operation have 3 operating positions. Lead trail dead handle should be correct in position according to the operation spring loaded latch provided in the handle lock position prevented the accident moving the feed valve attached for the brake valve body regulates the pressure on the brake pipe automatic brake valve handle running in holding position independent brake valve handle has 2 position running application zone if the self-lapping type no fanning of the brake valve handle the necessary with the valve automatically builds with the application pressure for the automatic corresponding with the handle in position and then laps the release of the locomotive brakes may be made after the automatic brake application for the depressing with the independent brake in the running position. Distributing valve located on the top of the frame under the cab floor at the right of the side of the locomotive automatic valve, the mechanism which controls the operating brakes. The locomotive brakes the locomotive in accordance with the movements of the brake valve handles. 7. The dead engine cock bottom of the distributing valve is open with the parallel of the floor. Locomotive is to be hauled with the dead end of the train closed vertical position under all the conditions. B. Auxiliary air equipment. Locomotive bell valve. The control valve is located at the right side of the brake valve pedestal. The controls from there. Air from the main reserve operating with a pneumatic bell ringer. The shutoff of the valve is built with a needle valve adjustment with the bell, which is located behind the right of the corner step. A horn valve. The control valve is located with the engine position control of the main reserve air pressure through the horn. The horn shutoff cock is located with the cab floor with the right hand side of the locomotive behind the hinge cover plate on the outside of the cab. 3. The sander valve. Located on the left side of the brake valve pedestal provides with the forward and reverse sanding of the both strokes. The valve has 3 positions forward, neutral, and reverse. The must move hand with the clockwise forward with the sanding, clockwise and the reverse sanding. If the unit is equipped with multiple unit and forward position with the sander valve to provide with the sand all the unit direction of the locomotive movement between the sanders because of the standards working through the reverser. On the locomotives equipped with multiple unit operation, sanding is automatic when the automatic brake valve handle is moved in emergency. A sanding cutout cock for each of the truck is located with the chassis near the sand automatic valve. 4. Your windshield wiper valve. The knee valve located with each of the four windshield wipers provide an independent control valve. The speed. The shut-off valve, global valve, the air supply wiper is located below the cab. Just forward the engine control stand. Reach through the hinge door of the outside of the cab. 5. The control air from number 1 main reserve reduced 70 psi through the NS1 reducing valve located in the control air pressure gauge on the right side wall of the operator's cab. The air is then piped to the operator reverse and series parallel contactors and the dynamic braking switching if used. 7. Miscellaneous operating instructions. Charging operating ends. On unit being cut out, make a full service application automatic brake valve. Place the brake pipe cutout cock in the trail position. Move the automatic brake valve to lap independent running and remove the handles. D. Place the reverse handle with the off position removed. To do the selector handle must be on the off throttle idle. E. The engine control stand with the open the control generator field breakers, leaving the fuel pump breaker closed. On units being cut in. Insert the reverse handle in the control leave in off position. Move the independent valve in the application position. Brake pipe cutout cock in the lead position. Move the automatic brake valve handle in the running position. Close the control fuel pump breaker of the engine control stand. Open the fuel pump breaker. Engine control stand on the unit being cut out with the close the generator field to breaker. Alright, dynamic braking operation. If used when using the dynamic braking engine controls from the mount of the braking after the selector handle, the dynamic braking applied with the locomotive operating the forward reverse motion position of the pointer braking scale with the load meter indicate with the amount of the braking be developed. The continuous being maintained with the name of the valve with the green zone with the braking scale. No operating is permitted with the red zone with the braking scale. If the pointer goes with the red zone with the braking wiring light will ring. Braking must be reduced to keep the pointer with the green zone with the alarm off. The operating effect of the dynamic brake of the train is similar to that of the locomotive independent air brakes. The braking effort after supply of the locomotive only have the same procedure for the bunching of the slack or preventing the slack required. 2. The applying dynamic braking. Move the throttle to the idle position. Move the reverse handle with the reverse depending on the direction of motion. Move the selector handle to the off, then to the big B of the braking range loading meter pointer will show the movement. The bunch of train slack, adjusting selector handle continuously braking the range. Do not allow the loaded pointer to exceed the first white mark on the monitoring scale until the slack is bunched. After the slack is bunched, advance select the handle in the back of the braking range until the desired braking off is obtained. Make the handle movement slowly. Do not permit the load meter pointer to the end of the red band of the braking scale. If the braking warning alarm comes on, reduce the braking unit until alarm stop. The amount of braking effort to obtain the varies with the train speed. To obtain the braking performance, the selector handle must be moved to hold the load meter pointer near the top of the green band with the load meter pointer to hold the constantly brake after increases as the speed decreases until it reaches maximum value approximately 22 miles an hour for 74/18 by ratio of an 74/18 gear ratio, but below the speed braking effort will gradually fall over the reach of the 0 to 0 miles an hour. G. A permissible start the standstill within ground grade of the dynamic braking applied. Release the dynamic brakes when not using air brakes. Reduce the braking slowly. Pause with the load meter pointer indicates that the first white mark of the mounting scale to prevent slack run out. B. Handle can now be removed to the off and into the monitoring. 4. Release dynamic braking automatic brake valve application. To maintain desired speed of the severe grades on application automatic brake and may be used to supplement the dynamic brake. However, no automatic air rack application is possible on the locomotive while they're using the dynamic brake. Flat wheels may result the locomotive in independent air brakes are applied with the using dynamic brake. When releasing the dynamic brake after the automatic brake application has been made, to depress the independent brake valve handle running position for the movement of the selector handle over the opposition independent brake valve handle may now release after the operation independent brake valve locomotive may be applied. If desired, caution dynamic brakes if released before depressing the independent brake valve handle, the rapid locomotive brake cylinder pressure buildup will occur, possibly resulting in locked axles and consequently flat wheels. 5. Dynamic braking, the emergency brake application. Emergency air brake application when initiated with the brake valve handle from the train. The dynamic brake automatically will be cut out and the emergency air brake application will be made with the locomotive as well as the train. Under these conditions, the engine man should be returned to the selector off position as promptly as consistent with the operating instructions. 6. Cut out dynamic brakes. If the engine control switch has been turned to idle, the dynamic braking of that unit will be inoperative. If the dynamic brake only the selector handle is we've cut out the dynamic brake only selector handle is off to avoid the surges of the equipment or on the train. For the same reason, the dynamic brake must be cut in, except when the selector handle is off. 7. The dynamic brake when leading the unit shut down load meter will not operate, therefore the alarm light going will indicate the maximum brake which has reducing the brakes to stop the alarm. When the leading unit is cut out, to keep the engine idle when the condition permits the maintains battery charging, air pressure, engine temperature, X4 condition, lead out the operating wheel with leading unit idling and shut down. Braking with power. Gradually apply the automatic brake valve for light brake applications. 2. Remove the locomotive brakes and depressing the independent brake valve handle running position. Reduce the throttle, maintain load meter with the pointer of the green band with the motoring scale of the train with speed. Reduce the move the throttle item before the train comes to a dead stop. On the locomotive, multiple transition locomotive, the selector handle in the position corresponding to the speed of the locomotive. D. Faster air pump with the generator field breaker located with the engine control stand must be in the off. The reverse handle must be in the off position. Selector handle must be in the position 1. Operation throttle is desired up to the notch 5. Emergency engine shutdown. A red stop button is located with the engine control stand. They shut down with the single engine. Simultaneously, all engines of multiple unit locomotives are provided with the primary emergency. Normal shutdowns should be made within the engine control switch. To restart the engine, single multiple unit, the locomotives are fully shut locomotives are shut down by emergency stop button. Reset the stop switch by pressing the run button. Start the engine in the usual manner as necessary. To turn the engine control switch to the off. Other units before starting in any unit. On older model locomotives, a single red stop button is used for the emergency diesel engine shutdown. On the model locomotives used with the multiple model RSD5 locomotives using the double stop run button to make sure that all the run buttons are used in the in and all the engine controls are turned with the off position. Engine may not be started in the usual manner. F. Operating through water. Do not exceed 2 to 3 miles an hour if the water is above the railhead. Do not pass through the water over 4 inches above the railhead. G. Passing over railroad crossing. The severe mechanical shocks received by the traction motor when passing over the railroad crossings at high speed may cover the brushes and the bouncing flash over the traction motor at high speed, reducing throttle to the 5th notch or below. While units are passing over the crossing, there is necessary to be a slow speed. H. Taking diesel engine offline in the multiple unit operation. Turn the engine control switch to idle position becomes necessary to stop the engine with the engine control switch off position. Open the fuel pump brake of the control compartment. And 1. Putting the diesel engine online with the multiple unit operation. If the engine has been shut down, close the fuel pump brake with control of the compartment panel. Start the engine in the usual manner. If lead unit throttle is in idle, turn the engine control switch directly to run. Lead the unit on throttle running notch. Engine control switch to slowly run. Pausing 3 seconds. Intermediate position to 2, 4, and 6. Gradually bring engine to speed and load. Alright, J. Partial load operation. The diesel engine may be operated with a partial load, moving the engine control switch to the 2, 4, and 6 regardless of the throttle position. Position 2, 4, and 6 correspond with the throttle notch 2, 4, and 6. After setting the engine control switch, any of the intermediate points for the diesel engine switch increases only with the point through the throttle may be higher notch. The position engine control switch through the limits output of the diesel engine. In multiple unit operation, the feature provided for reducing power of the lead unit overcomes the excessive wheel slip under the reverse rail condition to reduce power operation for any of the accommodated power difficulties which may fill the power operation undesirable. 3. Reduce the power braking in the overhauled engine. Towing the dead locomotive. In the freezing weather, drain engine steam generator, if used by the water system to break the equipment of one or more dead units with which are multiple with the live leading unit shall be set with the same as live train hauling units recommended with the brake equipment on each of the dead multiple unit locomotives which is not multiple with the live unit should be set up as a single dead unit as follows. Close the brake pipe cutout valve with the open on the brake valve pedestal dead position if unit is equipped with a multiple unit operation. Place the automatic independent brake valve handle in the running position. Place the throttle idle selector and reverse handle in the off position. Remove the reverse valve handle. Place the dead engine cock in the dead position. Set the safety valve with the distributing valve with the 25 psi 6. Connect the brake pipe hose only. L. Operating steam locomotive helper. Before using a steam locomotive helper, it should be first determined that the steam locomotive can pull its share of the tonnage above the rated speed of the diesel electric locomotive. Tonnage rating of the steam locomotive is used for the helper service is sometimes based on the speed below the continuous rated speed of the diesel electric locomotive. Therefore, if the helper locomotive can be pulling its share of the tonnage excess of the continuous tonnage rate of the diesel electric locomotive, diesel electric locomotive will endeavor to pull through pull them with shares, which may result in the eventual damage of the equipment. When operating the helper, watch for the load meter overloading the diesel electric locomotive will indicate the local loading pointer with moving the yellow zone. Reduce the diesel electric locomotive throttle, allow the train speed to drop until the unit helper is assumed the share of the tonnage, and set the diesel electric locomotive throttle in the position that allows the load meter to remain in the upper part of the green zone. And double heading between the steam locomotive. It's not recommended the diesel locomotive double heading between the steam locomotive because the road dirt and central steam produced by the steam engine is injurious to fine working mechanisms of the diesel locomotive. However, the emergency arrives if the steam engine must lead the diesel. A full service application must be made, and the brake pipe cutout clock closed on the diesel. If the unit is equipped with multiple unit brake pipe, place the brake pipe cutout clock in the dead position. The brakes are controlled with the steam locomotive. Put the bowl of the engine on the diesel electric locomotive can be made with the emergency application moving the automatic brake valve handle to the emergency position. You can release the brakes and depressing the independent brake valve handle. And operating with the load on unit idling and shutdown. To operate the leading unit and turn the engine control switch to idle. To operate the leading unit shutdown, turn the engine control switch to the leading unit to off. To close the battery switch on the lead unit. Close the control negative and battery breakers on the lead unit control compartment. Lighting breakers are only as closed as required. Close the MG set breakers. Open all the circuit breakers and lead to the unit control compartment panel. Close the control fuel pump generator field breakers on the lead unit engine control stand. Dynamic will out or leave unit, see the dynamic braking leading unit down. Note with the engine and dead battery charging generator see the function of the battery voltage will weaken even a few hours to prevent the further locomotive operation. In all cases above, the trailing units are the same as normal. Operating with a dead battery on the lead unit without headlight. Turn the engine control switch on the lead unit to off. Open the battery switch to lead unit. Open all the circuit breakers on the control compartment panel, electrical cab of their circuit breaker. If used, open the fuel pump with the control breakers and close generator field close the generator field breaker on the engine control stands in the lead unit. On any one of the trailing units, close the fuel pump with the control breakers. Engine control stand with the dynamic braking cannot be used. P. Operating with a dead battery on the lead unit with a headlight. On the lead unit, turn the engine control switch to off. Open the battery switch. Open the electrical cab heater circuit breaker. If used, open all the circuit breaker of the control compartment panel except the headlight, cab light, engine room light breakers. Open the fuel pump and close the generator field control breakers on the engine control stand. Open any of the trailing unit. Close fuel pump control breakers, engine control stand. Make sure all the circuits on the control compartment are closed. Caution: do not use any more than one headlight control breaker may trip. Q. Engine water temperature control. The engine water temperature is controlled with a single radiator fan and a pair of radiator shutters, one located on the right and one located on the left side of the locomotive at the forward end. The speed of the fan and positioning of the shutters are automatically controlled with the temperature watering of the diesel engine. In the event with a high water temperature by inspection found for either the fan or shutters, both functional equipment can be operated manually. This shows a figure is the shutter motor linkage with the gradual motor locking pin with the chain pin with the insert eye pipe and is handled for the main operation locking holders holding shutter open with the mid position closed when in manual operation. Move the motor driven rod yoke and locate lock out with the position of manual operation. For automatic operation, the radiator fan control switch shall be in the automatic position with the control manual pounded under the hood on the left back of the side of the radiator compartment and bulkhead. Both motor drive and rod yoke should be connected with the shutter opening link locking pins with removed. The place in the receptacle. Both cutout cocks figure 3 should be open. The air pressure be shown in 15 psi with the shutter closed and the fan not operating. Figure 3 shows the schematic arrangement of the engine control temperature. Main reserve, cutout cock, air filter, 70-pound pressure reduction testing continued into a box system of 17 pressure, a reducing valve, air gauge, relief valve, also pneumatic relay valve, and a hot engine and temperature switch from the water from the engine and the thermostat water from the engine to two graduated motors to an air filter out through the cock of the main reserve air. In emergency, the equipment can be operated manually with the first closing the cutout cocks, both with the air filter and bleeding system. Open the drain valve at the base of each filter. Remove the 1 inch pipe with a handle with receptacle. Apply the sub and the end of the shorter operational link. Fill the pipe and remove the chain pin with the shutter of the motor yoke with the yoke of the lock out position. Reapply with the chain pin. Place the position shutter operational link within the locking pin and one of the 3 holes moved from the full middle position full clock, closed shutter and fan control switch of the medium of the full fan speed, the minimum of 140 to 160 degrees engine water temperature. Alright, your reverse emergency operation. The reverse to operate with the turn engine control switch is idle with the unit with the effect of the throttle, reversing, pressing the magnet valve with the button, left with the magnet valve forward, right magnet valve with the reverse. If not effective, the move the manual operating handle with the bracket on the inside of the control compartment. Insert the handle in the holes prevented with the operating levers on top of the operating shaft. Move the left and then forward with the movement into the right with the reverse movement. Note that the radiator end of the road switcher unit is classified as forward end, therefore the steam generator end of the unit is leading. The reverse must be set in the reverse movement. That's the traction motor cutout switch. The traction motor cutout switch is located with the control panel compartment. Is connected with the control circuit provided with the cutting out of all the motors in each of the truck. The motors cannot be cut out individually. Motors 1, 2, 3 may be cut out. Motors 4, 5, and B. 4, 5, and 6. I guess the throttle must be idle before switching. T. The handbrake operation. To apply and engage the latching lever in the brake back of the brake wheel. Turn the wheel counterclockwise until the brake is fully applied. To release, turn the wheel counterclockwise 1/8 of a turn. Disengage the latching lever. Release the wheel. Cab heater. Located on the right side of the engine position. Rheostat switch controlling the heater fan is located on the gauge panel of the engine position. Alright, Section 8. Gauges and instruments. Load meter. Load meter is strictly color band guided locomotive operating motor dynamic braking if used. Monitoring the pointer position with the monitoring scale indicates the amount of tractive effort being developed and loaded with the traction motor with the pulling of the train. The green zone represents the normal operation zone and operating times. Unrestricted yellow zone indicates a short time load capacity of the traction motor operating with the zone principle and for the acceleration. The point of the scale in which the color band changing from the green to yellow indicates the maximum load at which the continuous operation may be maintained. 2. Short time load operation. For the operation of the guides with the short running of the guides greater than the emergency short time load limits are shown with the yellow figure appears beneath the yellow band on the monitoring scale. These figures indicate the maximum time of the minutes for the operation may be attained. Load meter resistor within the following range of the load meter point. The registers anywhere with the range from where the green band changes with the yellow to the line marked 12, the maximum operating time of the permissible to 12 minutes. Load meter the point with the register anywhere between the line marked with the 12 and the line marked with the 6, with the maximum permissible operating time of 6 minutes. Similarly, the load meter point with the register anywhere again between the lines marked 6 and the line marked 4, with the maximum permissible operating time is minutes 4. Operating in the yellow zone between the marked 4 and the end of the scale is not accepted with a very short time which may occur when starting. These overloads on time shall not be accumulated. The operator must be the best judgment at the time of the use of the full allowed time. For instance, the pointer then registers the pay part-time 12-minute load zone to the part-time at some other valve. When short-time load has been used for the full available time, the load must be reduced when the pointer will register at and below the yellow triangle, which appears near the upper end of the green band. The load must be held below the yellow triangle for at least 20 minutes before any of the overloading the yellow zone may be repeated. 3. Dynamic braking if used. The braking scale engine man guideman applying with dynamic brake for the complete instruction. C. Dynamic brake operation. B. Speedometer has a speed scale which indicates the locomotive speed in miles per hour. C. The battery voltmeter has a voltage color scale. Voltage scale indicates the voltmeter. Battery circuit. The color scale indicates the battery circuit condition. Red first zone, voltage and discharge. Battery silver, battery at low charge, and battery discharge for the normal operation circuit. Voltage 64. The pointer will stay in the band for a short time after starting the engine. Green battery receiving normal charge. Red battery is being overcharged. The auxiliary generator ammeter indicates the auxiliary generator ampere output. It should be reading whenever the diesel engine is running. However, the reading will vary widely depending on upon the auxiliaries being operated. The better meter should show no reading. Check to ensure the auxiliary generator field circuit breaker on the control compartment is closed. If still no reading is shown, minimize the auxiliary load to the converter of the battery. E. Lubricating oil pressure gauge. Lubricated on the gauge panel in front of the engine position should indicate the 20-30 psi idling speed, 45 to 55 psi top engine speed. 5. Engine water temperature gauge located on the gauge panel at the front of the engine position indicate the temperature of the cooling water blank header and engine normal operation temperature 140 to 160 degrees. The G, the booster air pressure gauge located on the hood of the left side of the back side of the radiator compartment bulkhead indicates the turbo supercharger air pressure diesel engine should indicate the 15 to 18 psi with the throttle 8 notch for the engine fully loaded with low pressure and the throttle throw low or throttle notch. If pressure drops 14 psi and the throttle 8 notch with the engine fully loaded but the cause of low pressure should be corrected. H, fuel oil pressure gauge located on the gauge panel of the front engine position should indicate the 35-45 psi all engine speeds. I, air gauge located with the engine control stand. 1 gauge indicates the brake pressure, brake cylinder pressure. 2nd gauge indicates the main reserve equalizing air pressure. J, control air pressure gauge mounted on the cab side of the panel with the rear engine man seat with should indicate 70 psi. Loss of control pressure prevents the operation of electro-pneumatic control contactors, further locomotive movement. K, radiator fan control air pressure gauge mounted with the fan control panel under the head of the left back side of the radiator compartment bulkhead. It should indicate the 15-17 psi operation electro-pneumatic fan control switch. 9. Automatic alarm safeguards. A multiple unit operation alarm switch for the gun. Have gong and indicated light warning of all units of the following: low lubricating oil pressure, hot engine ground relay, trip steam generator flame out. If used, dynamic braking. If used, a lubricating oil pressure. If the oil pressure drops 15 psi below the ops, should be the engine shut down and sign with alarm bell light with the green lubricating lube oil pressure light on the engine control stand. Hot engine. When the engine cooling water temperature reaches 185 degrees, the hot engine red indicating light located on the control stand will light. The alarm bell will sound. The engine will return to idle ground relay. A ground power circuit operates the ground relay. Return the engine with the sound with the alarm bell light with the ground indicator light. The engine control stand with red indicator will also appear with the ground relay. The ground relay may be seen through the window of the relay box located in the upper right corner of the control compartment. And the rest is, this is the last page will be the last 2 pages are an index. So let's read the last page. To reset the ground relay, turn the engine control switch to idle, push the ground relay reset and button, turn the engine control switch to run. If the ground relay stays in continue normal operation. If the ground relay continues the trip, motor cutoff switch, if used, may be used to isolate the faulty truck with the motors. For example, to reset the ground relay as outlined in 2 above, the motor cutoff switch in position 1, 2, and 3 out. And start locomotive fully, same procedure, motor 4, 5, and 6. In the same case, the motor may be found with the ground relay trips with the throttle in advanced notch position. In multiple unit operation, engine control switch is often effective, but the unit may be turned to limits for the operation of the notch position below which the fault occurs. Under extreme conditions, the reset ground relay is outlined with the 2 above the ground relay cutout switch to the control compartment with movement. Move locomotive no farther than necessary. Observe the smoke overheating electrical equipment. If the multiple unit operation, the unit should be taken offline. The repeated ground relay tripping may indicate the traction motor failure that might result in locked axle. A check should be made to make sure the wheels are turning free. D. The boiler flame out. If used, the steam generator stop the boiler alarm relay closes the cause of the white flame out of the light to be alarm sound. The dynamic braking warning light. If used, when a dynamic braking limit exceeds the following indications are provided with load minute pointer and will indicate the red zone of the braking scale indicating the load overload of lead unit. B. The braking warning light of the alarm gong will operate with the indicated overload of the lead unit until the unit multiple operate in or any unit min multiple. For their information, the dynamic braking operation. F. Crankcase exhauster. The yellow crankcase exhauster light located in the control compartment panel should be on continuously to indicate the exhauster is running. If the light is out, to see the crankcase exhauster brake is closed. If the breaker is closed, the lamp is not burned out. Report the condition. If the exhauster is not running, the engine should be shut down and the trouble corrected. G. Wheel slip warning. When the wheel slip warning relay operates, the wheel slip light and buzzer will operate with the power slip will be automatically reduced and reapplied for the further information wheel slip. H. The diesel engine overspeed. The overspeed switch automatically drops if the governor clutch will shut down the diesel engine, which reaches a speed of 11 to 0.10 plus or 10 RPMs. To reset the overspeed switch, move the engine control switch to off, push the overspeed reset button located on the top left side of the generator adapter. Start the engine, move an engine control switch to run position, pausing 3 seconds at an intermediate position. The overspeed switch repeatedly after tripping any of the unit. The unit may be operated partially loaded, moving the engine control switch to the intermediate position necessary to keep it from tripping. Engine cannot be cranked following the engine overspeed trip if the overspeed reset button has been reset. Journal box heater indicator. If the heater is installed with the cover of the rolling box, the journal box is emit with the plunge or the journal box temperature of 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, this is an index for the book A through Z, or A through W, and we have finished now the operating manual of Locomotive American Locomotive Company diesel electric locomotive model RSD 5 1600 horsepower road switcher 6 motor.